Last week, I labored through every single Disney direct-to-video sequel and brought you a list of the ones that I consider the top 10 worst. Because people love lists, they love Disney, and they love the word worst. Imagine that. But this did lead to some people inquiring as to what I consider to be the best. The problem with the word best is that it implies good or warrants existing. At best, some are less awful than others, but after the literally dozens of hours I spent slogging through this mess, I thought I could give you a best list to counteract the worst list, but honestly, I don't think I can. But I can give you a relatively less awful list.
In a way, this was a more difficult list to put together, because while there were a couple that surprised me at how relatively not awful they were, the majority are, well, let's just say that before Lasseter took over, it was a dark time.
So this week, we're going to try to be less mean and give you a less awful list to balance out the last one. So, with that, I give you my top 5 least awful Disney sequels. Why only 5? Because I can't.
Number 5.
Gotta be honest, number 5 gave me a lot of trouble, and it really came down to a competition between a really shitty follow-up to a good movie and a somewhat shitty follow-up to a shitty movie. You see my dilemma.
Pocahontas 2, I'd say, is par for the course for historical accuracy. But while whitewashing history isn't awesome, I can't wait to see if 100 years down the line they have, like, an equally sanitized version of the Anne Frank story. Like there are fun singing sidekicks and a clean-up musical number and some made-up fictional Nazi bad guy that is into magic or something and uses his Nazi magic to find out Anne, and then they eventually in the third act they get taken to Auschwitz, but then at the end Anne manages to free everyone in the concentration camp, and then they like bust out of the broken wall and they're all like, yay, we're free, and then the made-up bad guy gets defeated and everybody lives. But somehow the sillier tone of Pocahontas 2 compared to 1 makes it a little more forgivable, and Pocahontas is a less solid movie than The Lion King, so in a way I feel like the sequel was a little bit of an improvement. The Lion King 2 had a much harder act to follow, and it really is so much worse than people give it credit for. And out of all 30-some of them, I'd say it makes the least sense as a sequel.
But even with all of that, it's still relatively less awful than most of them.
It follows in the Hunchback 2 syndrome of being a lot less epic. Only like 20 animals or so could be arsed to showed up for the new cub lifting. Hell, maybe they're still repopulating after Scar's drought. This one's supposedly loosely based on Romeo and Juliet, as the original is loosely based on Hamlet. But like so many of these, it's a touch fanficky.
I banished you from the Pride Lands.
Don't you remember in the last movie when I banished you? Wait, who are these people? Okay, so apparently there's this group of lions that were supporters of Scar and got banished to a termite mound when Simba came back. Remember that? No? Okay. Return of Jafar, while it's cheaper and lazier and uglier, it was at least set up and followed the logic from the first movie. This just comes from nothing.
He wasn't my father, but he was still...
Then who is your dad? I didn't see any other male lions around when Scar was in charge. Who are these dozen or so lionesses? Why didn't Scar sire any cubs? Is it because he's gay, or sterile, or gay? Or is it because he's gay?
Oh, I shall practice my curtsy.
Problem with a lot of these is that it brings back all of your favorite characters and doesn't really have anything for them to do.
But who's going to teach them the really important stuff?
It is a girl.
Girl! Girl!
Look, a ham sandwich. It's turkey. Oh. Turkey! Oi. Nala does nothing but espouse incorrect wisdom.
She'll be fine.
Rafiki has been relegated to a little more than matchmaker, though I guess that kind of works considering he's the shaman life coach in both movies.
It just takes two to make it true. Your heart will take you there.
Rafiki, this is kind of weird. Though none of these characters fail as hard as the poor useless genie in the Aladdin sequels, but we'll get to those later.
It also features a retcon of the moral of the original movie as well.
But they...
Them? Us. Look at them. They are us.
After all, they're not those dirty f***ing hyenas, am I right? As much as I dislike this one, though, it can claim something no other Disney movie can. We get to watch Andy Dick die. I like that. Yeah. Let's watch that again. Yeah, that feels nice. I don't know, it's kind of like getting a back massage. Again? Yeah, I'm really digging this.
I guess what redeems this thing is that it's a different story from the original, and Kiara and Kovu are kind of compelling. It's not the exact same movie, only this time with the children of the original mains, like Lady and the Tramp 2 or Little Mermaid 2. It's a different conflict from The Lion King. It is the same conflict, however, as
Number 4.
Many people share a misconception that Robin Williams did not reprise his role as the genie in the Aladdin sequels because of money or that it was beneath his popularity or something. And that's technically not true. It was over a contract dispute.
Williams got paid SAG scale, which is very, very little, to be the genie in Aladdin in exchange for his role being played down and him largely being uncredited in it. Disney, under the dictatorship of Jeffrey Katzenberg, threw this out the window, and the whole Robin Williams is the genie thing was very played up in the film's marketing. As a result, Williams was not happy, and for the sequel was replaced by voice actor Dan Castellaneta.
Ooh, she dances.
For the very first of all of these direct-to-video beauties, The Return of Jafar.
Now this TV pilot sequel, I had originally intended to go on the bad list because while a lot of people look fondly on it, it's really not that good.
Instead of Robin Williams riffing and talented animators putting an image to his weird words, it's a dozen people writing what they think Robin Williams would have said. It's not really poor malign Dan Castellaneta's fault. The man has come to prominence in other comedic roles you might have heard of, but Castellaneta is playing Robin Williams playing the genie. And on top of the fact that the genie has almost nothing to do plot-wise, well, it's not the worst problem, really. Wow, the animation looks really cruddy. The orchestration has like 5 people in it, and the genie is played by Homer Simpson, and the music is awful.
I've traveled east and west, and now I'm back again.
You know what we need? We need Gilbert Gottfried to have a musical number.
From here on in, I'm looking out for me.
No, it doesn't need a Gilbert Gottfried musical number. It needs 2.
Love really is revolting. It's even worse than when you're molting.
Out of all of these, Return of Jafar is the most TV-ish pacing-wise, and excepting the Beauty and the Beast sequels and Atlantis 2, it looks the worst. The genie's not funny, Jafar's got a big goofy downgrade.
Men cower at the power in my pinky. My thumb is number 1.
So why does this one go on the less bad list instead of the bad list? Well, let's just say this might be the only time Gilbert Gottfried was described as a saving grace.
Getting dark. Hold me. Ah! Hey, I meant gentle-like.
With the exception of Anastasia the stepsister, Iago's the only bad guy character that had an arc and development in the sequels, all while keeping his basic nastiness intact.
I'm trying to free the chump genie so he can save your chump boyfriend.
Really, the whole plot of the movie, on paper, as an outline, is fine. With a little bit of epicifying, it could have easily warranted a theatrical release. It's certainly better than Return to Neverland or Jungle Book 2, though I doubt that it would have happened because it's not Aladdin's story, it's Iago's. And I totally buy it.
You'd be surprised what you can live through.
All right.
Radical!
Though I do definitely question the decision to have Gilbert sing.
Gilbert, we're gonna need you to sing.
What?
Twice.
Okay.
Number 3.
In the early 2000s, Disney made 2 movies about a pre-Columbian youth harming another and being turned into an animal, and in the process learning to be less selfish and help others. And the 2 movies were made within 2 years of each other. One of them turned out a lot better than I think anybody thought it would.
This isn't poison. This is extract of llama.
The other was on the meh side of okay.
So as it sometimes is with sequels that follow fare that wasn't all that great in the first place, Brother Bear 2 didn't have that hard of an act to follow.
As we discussed in the last episode, Disney sequels are usually either main character from the last one has children who learn the same lesson their parents learned in the first movie, the midquel, or someone from the original gets a love interest. Brother Bear 2 falls into the latter category, but it is by far the best of that type.
It has the most in common with Hunchback 2, but where Hunchback 2 is half-baked, amateurish, and lame, seriously, the Belle is beautiful on the inside. Get it?
She's even more beautiful on the inside.
This one ties the love story into the narrative much more fluidly. Firstly, there's no fey-flaming bad guy making kissy faces at himself in the mirror.
I could kiss me.
Second, the plot that brings the two of them together actually has to do with their relationship. Namely, that she has to destroy this totem thing that bound them as children in order to get married to somebody else.
But he's a bear.
Yeah?
You know, a bear.
Apparently, this is an accepted thing in their village. So the plot revolves around them going to this specific place to destroy the thing and falling back in love in the process. I heard you were a bear, I just didn't know you were, you know, a bear. Joaquin Phoenix is the only person not to reprise his role as Kenai. In this, he's replaced with Patrick Dempsey. Okay, and his love interest is played by unofficial Disney pop star Mandy Moore. Even the original kid from Brother Bear 1 is back, though the most annoying and problematic part of the movie, since the plot's about the love interest and he doesn't have much to do but whine and
I'll take you to him. No, I said go away.
get in the way. No one would have to know.
It may not be all that compelling, but I would say that out of all of them, really, it's the least flawed. Least flawed.
Number 2.
Disney markets the two Aladdin sequels like it's a trilogy, but it's probably best to look at them like a 1-hour TV pilot, a 65-episode TV series, and a TV movie to serve as the series finale.
Aladdin and the King of Thieves was originally going to have Mosenrath from the series as the antagonist, and we were going to find out that he and Aladdin were brothers the whole time, but for reasons, they went with the long-lost dad angle instead, intending to cast Sean Connery, who backed out due to other obligations, so Aladdin's dad is played by John Rhys Davies. Which I think ended up being for the best, because John Rhys Davies is less distracting than Connery might have been.
But oh, Jeannie, you and your pop culture references. Anti-reference joke brigade, prepare to feel a wrath far greater than anything an internet reviewer could come up with.
Uh-oh, definitely an oracle. Tells the future. Uh-oh.
Remember how the genie had nothing to do in the last movie? Well, now he really has nothing to do but reference other movies, especially Disney movies. Oh, thank God, Robin Williams is back. Oh, yeah, please, make sure you get absolutely every other Disney movie ever referenced in there. No, I think there are more. Still, you haven't gotten them all. No, I can take as many as you can, Robin. Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Hakuna Matata.
Oh, I was having an out-of-movie experience.
Oh, you've already had like 20. Oh, okay. Moving on, Forrest Gump,
Mama always said magic is as magic does.
Rain Man. Next thing you know, Robin Williams will be referencing Robin Williams. Oh, there it is. Ha, it's funny because I've heard of it.
That said, Robin Williams is a much better Robin Williams than Dan Castellaneta.
It's a joke. I do that.
It begins with Aladdin and Jasmine's wedding getting crashed by the 40 Thieves, unknowingly led by Aladdin's father.
That was for ruining my wedding. Try wearing a corset.
Oh, well, now I'm doing it too. Damn it. The plot is mostly pretty solid, and the emotional stakes are pretty high, with Aladdin trying to reintegrate his thieving dad into his life, ultimately failing. Well, it is engaging, even if the animation's on the low end of good, and the ending is pretty satisfying. Dad just can't be a part of Aladdin's life. But, hey, he's off to have more adventures, and Iago's going with him. Why didn't they have a TV show out of that? I'd watch the hell out of that. But unlike Return of Jafar, this one is totally and completely Aladdin's story.
Well, I guess I'll have to settle for the Prince of Thieves.
Before we get to number 1, a couple of honorable mentions.
First off, The Rescuers Down Under. Why even bring that one up?
To date, it's the only